Benin Bronzes, one of history's greatest mysteries. But there is one strange detail almost everyone misses when they hear the story. Let me explain. You are probably familiar with the Benin Bronzes, a collection of over 1,000 exquisite sculptures from the Kingdom of Benin in present-day Nigeria. What you might not know is that these bronzes were looted over 100 years ago during the British invasion of Benin City. In February of 1897, British colonial forces attacked and sacked the city, stealing priceless artifacts like the bronzes and taking them back to Europe and America. This dark chapter in history has left an enduring legacy, shaping perceptions of colonialism and cultural heritage. But here's the catch. Before we get into the real reason why the British invaded and took the bronzes, let me introduce you to a lesser-known tale that unfolded at nearly the same time across the globe. It has the story of a secret team of codebreakers working in silence, while the fate of the world hung in the balance. This is the tale of Alan Turing and how his work paved the way for modern computers. Now, during World War II, German military communications were encrypted using a machine called Enigma, which could generate billions of possible combinations every day. To most people, it seemed unbreakable, but a mathematician named Alan Turing had other ideas. He believed it could be cracked. It just required a very special machine to do the cracking. So Turing set out to build the bomb, an early computer that could test thousands of possibilities at lightning speed. His efforts paid off. The bomb successfully decrypted German messages, providing valuable intelligence to the Allies. It's estimated that this work shortened the war by 2 years and saved millions of lives. Turing and his fellow codebreakers remained silent about their work for decades, but their impact on history is undeniable. Their efforts paved the way for the digital age and helped shape the world we live in today. So what does this have to do with the bronzes? Well, you see, in 1914, before the massive global conflict known as World War II began, the British and the Germans had a small disagreement over some land in German East Africa. At the time, Germany controlled parts of present-day Tanzania, and British agents were sent in to stop Germans from gathering intelligence on their rivals. Among the most valuable intelligence they could gather would be codes and ciphers. So the British captured German messengers and interrogated them about what codes and ciphers they were carrying. On September 27, 1914, a German messenger named Karl Schutz was captured. He revealed that he was carrying the latest Enigma code wheels and a key book listing the Enigma keys for the day. This was an incredibly valuable intelligence coup for the British, but they needed a way to crack the codes quickly. The German military was changing the Enigma keys every day, so there wasn't much time to waste. And this is where our story takes an unexpected turn. Enter two unsung heroes of the episode, Captain Edward Hayman and Colonel Louis Vernon Gray. Captain Hayman was a veteran of the Boer War and a member of the British Army's newly formed Secret Service Bureau. His expertise in cryptography would prove instrumental in cracking the German codes. Colonel Gray, on the other hand, was a former police officer who brought his own unique skill set to the team. Together, they faced countless challenges and setbacks as they worked tirelessly to break the seemingly unbreakable Enigma code. Faced with the threat of attack from all sides, the Allies knew they needed a way to read German messages to stay ahead of their enemies. Hayman's initial attempts to decipher the Enigma codes proved unsuccessful, prompting him to seek assistance from outside experts. Enter Colonel Louis Vernon Gray, a former police officer whose sharp intellect and keen observation skills made him an ideal candidate for the task. Now, under the watchful eye of Captain Hayman, Gray delved into the captured German material, poring over documents and analyzing every piece of intelligence at his disposal. After weeks of painstaking work, a breakthrough occurred. Gray discovered a crucial flaw in the Enigma machine. Despite its advanced encryption methods, the device had a weakness that could be exploited. With this knowledge, Gray and Hayman developed innovative techniques to decipher the coded messages, opening a new chapter in the battle of wits between the Allies and the Axis powers. Now, as Gray and Hyman celebrated their success. The true scope of their achievement remained hidden. Decades would pass before the world learned of their pivotal role in cracking the Enigma code and securing a wide victory. As the war raged on, the need to decipher German communications became increasingly urgent. With the fate of nations hanging in the balance, the pressure mounted on the team. Working day and night, they analyzed captured enemy transmissions, searching for patterns and vulnerabilities. Finally, their efforts bore fruit. They discovered a critical weakness in the Enigma machine, a flaw that allowed them to decode German messages. With this knowledge, the Allies gained a crucial edge over their adversaries. Military operations were planned with greater accuracy, and vital intelligence was gathered, all thanks to the brilliant minds working tirelessly behind the scenes. The discovery of the Enigma code remained classified for many years, but the contributions of these unsung heroes of World War II continue to inspire awe and admiration. After the war ended, Gray went back to being an upholsterer, while Hyam retired to his farm. However, the significance of their work would eventually be recognized, and their names would be etched in the annals of history as pioneers of cryptography and the protectors of secrets that kept the world safe. Now, while all this was going on, the rest of the world was still fighting World War I, which would end 2 years later in 1918. When it was over, the victorious Allied powers decided to hold a conference to discuss what to do next. The victorious Allied powers met at a conference in 1919 to decide the fate of German colonies. At the time, Germany had colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Due to their involvement in the war, the Allies decided to divide up the German colonies among themselves. Britain received territories in East Africa, which included German East Africa, present-day Tanzania. However, tension soon arose between Britain and the new Kingdom of Italy over control of these territories. Italy had high hopes of expanding its colonial empire in Africa, but Britain had already set its sights on the region. As negotiations stalled, it became clear that a peaceful resolution was unlikely. Then came an unexpected development that tipped the scales in Britain's favor. An intercepted Italian military dispatch revealed their plans for a surprise attack on British Somaliland. This revelation left Britain with no choice but to take action. They prepared for defense and counterattacked, driving the Italians back. This decisive move secured Britain's position in the region and thwarted Italy's colonial ambitions. The scramble for African colonies had been a contentious issue, but Britain's swift response had established their dominance in the area. The incident highlighted the lengths to which European powers would go to protect their colonial interests and the impact such actions would have on local populations. However, those weren't the only changes happening in Africa at the time. In Nigeria, the Royal Niger Company had become the dominant force in the region. The company played a significant role in the economic and political landscape, shaping the course of events that would lead to the British conquest of Benin. In the late 19th century, European powers scrambled to colonize Africa in a process that became known as the Scramble for Africa. Driven by economic and political motivations, they carved up the continent, disregarding existing boundaries and the interests of indigenous populations. Britain, France, Belgium, Germany, Portugal, and Italy all claimed vast territories, exploiting their resources and subjugating the local people. This era marked a turning point in world history, setting the stage for decades of colonial rule, cultural clashes, and the exploitation of African resources. So what does all this have to do with the Bronzes? Well, at the time, the Kingdom of Benin was one of the largest and most powerful states in Africa. Located in what is now southern Nigeria, the kingdom had a rich history dating back several centuries. Known for its impressive bronze sculptures and advanced trading capabilities, Benin City flourished as a hub of commerce, particularly in the slave trade. However, as European powers expanded their colonial empires, they targeted the kingdom's wealth and influence, leading to its eventual downfall. For centuries, the Kingdom of Benin had thrived as an independent state in what is now southern Nigeria. But as the 19th century drew to a close, European powers began encroaching on its territory. The Royal Niger Company, a British entity, had already established a presence in the region, marking the beginning of British interference in Benin affairs. Then came the ill-fated encounter that would change everything. In 1892, a British punitive expedition led by Major Charles John Petty entered Benin City. Tensions escalated, and an attack on a British outpost resulted in casualties. Outraged, the British retaliated with a show of force, burning villages and seizing hostages. In 1897, the situation spiraled further as the British demanded the hostages' release and the payment of a hefty fine. When the British ultimatum was rejected, they launched a full-scale attack on Benin City. The British colonial forces, equipped with modern weaponry and supported by local allies, overwhelmed the Benin army. This decisive moment in history marked the end of Benin independence. As the British troops stormed Benin City, they encountered the magnificent bronze sculptures that adorned the royal palaces and temples. Intricate artworks depicting historical events, religious figures, and everyday life were looted and taken to Europe and America. These treasures of world history, now known as the Benin Bronzes, serve as a reminder of a turbulent past and the enduring legacy of colonial exploitation. The destruction of Benin City in 1897 remains a dark chapter in history, symbolizing the devastating impact of colonialism and the loss of cultural heritage. Today, these bronzes are scattered across museums and private collections worldwide, sparking ongoing debates about repatriation and cultural restitution. Efforts are underway to return these stolen artifacts to Nigeria, recognizing their invaluable contribution to world history and the need to acknowledge the suffering inflicted during colonial rule. As the world grapples with its colonial past, the Benin Bronzes stand as powerful symbols of cultural resilience and the fight for historical recognition. So can you imagine a world without computers or the internet, without touring? That might have been our reality. If you enjoyed this glimpse into history's hidden heroes, hit subscribe for more untold stories that shaped our world. Thank you for watching.